Ladies and gentlemen, RosterWatch Nation, welcome back to the epic RosterWatch Podcast, brought to you by RosterWatch.com. My name is Alex Dunlap, here today with the Trashman as we broadcast live on YouTube and on Periscope. If you have any questions for us, you can ask there in the comments section. As always, if you're listening on the Apple Podcast, please rate and review over there. Certainly always appreciate that. We have a bunch of awesome guests coming up. Our admin, Jen, has been doing an awesome job booking guests. We've had a bunch in the last couple of weeks. We'll have another one tomorrow, who I won't announce, but it'll be another great guest. Trash Man, an okay guest, more of a regular, I would say. What the hell's going on, brother?
Not too much. Got my test results back.
Allergies. I told you, man. It was that Saharan dust. You get the allergy meds. You're like, why the hell did I even go get this COVID test in the first?
No, I thought it was a good idea to get one. Anyways,
fair enough. All right, so we got a couple things to get to here. Wanted to talk about some news and notes from around the NFL before we. I have version 3.0 of the cheat sheet up at RosterWatch.com for PPR leagues. I think it's humming. I love the way that it looks right now. If you are interested in checking it out, I will do a simulation here in a second using version 3.0 so you can see the kind of teams that is churning out in 12-team PPR leagues and simulations. But first, Trashman, your boy, Daniel Snyder, the bombshell news report still yet to drop. Everybody's waiting on it.
Daniel Snyder ever been my boy?
I'm just saying this. And as we're talking here, my headphones have gone out, so I need to switch over to some headphones. Can you hear me, Trashman?
I can.
Yeah, so
can always hear you.
Dealing with that on the fly. Sorry to everybody. Your boy Dan Snyder has now looking like changing the team name from the Redskins, but it looks like that's just the tip of the iceberg with some stuff that he's facing. Just every single Redskins account or analyst or beat reporter or anything out have been dropping these cryptic hints over the course of the last couple of days that something really, really bad is going to drop. And now we have 40% of the minority owners of that team now putting their portion of the team up for sale. We have the teams. The play-by-play voice of the team for the course of the last 16 years has abruptly up and left. Two longtime scouting department members have left. Apparently, it's something. They say it's something that is going to make the whole name controversy look like small potatoes. Any ideas, Trashman? What's going on behind the curtain there with old Dan Snyder?
No clue. Absolutely no clue.
It
could really be anything. I mean, they're trying to keep up with the Cowboys in the drama department, and maybe they'll come close to it this time. Oh,
they'll come close. I don't think that there's any question that they will come close. My question: what is the team going to do this year? Because are they going to rename the team before the season starts and get a new uniform and everything?
It looks like it. I mean, or maybe they'll just take the names off. I mean, is Redskins on anything?
I don't know. I mean, it's the logo. I don't know. It's not written on anything, I don't think. Are you saying they might just be Washington this year and just play with the old school, play with the colors? Is that?
Yeah, you're not going to confuse them for anybody else.
Yeah.
You got to look at the upside if you're them. It's a whole new merchandising line for them.
It was funny. It was funny in Snyder's whenever the team announced it, he said that they're looking for the best way forward for their sponsors, their fans, and for their players. It's like the sponsors. Sponsors was the first one he listed, and it just goes to show that he wasn't going to do anything until FedEx and everybody else told him just that buzz off or change the name or we're buzzing off. It's just absolutely hilarious, and he just admitted it plainly in the press release. What about Mark Andrews? Mark Andrews, as we know, has type 1 diabetes. He indicated, as we're starting to get these reports about players or speculate, I think useless speculation from media reporters about whether players are going to be opting out of the season in the same way that some MLB and NBA players have opted to, whether because they're immunocompromised or because they might have family members that they're worried about, or simply because they're, simply because they're scared. Mark Andrews was asked about this since he's a type 1 diabetic. And he says via Roto World here, this was from Jonas Schaefer on Twitter, "We've got a big year coming up," Andrew said in a Zoom call with the Children with Diabetes Foundation. "My goal is to continue to use my platform. I want to continue to help kids and families that are dealing with type 1 diabetes." So it apparently is going to be covered in the NFLPA's opt-out clause for at-risk players, but he is not going to be opting out. He's believed to be the only active NFL player with the disease. So Mark Andrews going to play. At this point, Mark Andrews is going basically number 3 before Zach Ertz as far as tight ends, and I'm never getting him just because if I'm paying up a tight end, I'll be damned if it's going to be for somebody besides George Kittle or Travis Kelce. Your thoughts on the Mark Andrews situation?
Well, I mean, is it a new diagnosis? I mean, is it one that he's had for a while?
No. He's been an outspoken proponent of causes for type 1 diabetics. I mean that was said on an interview with something that was like the Children with Diabetes Foundation, a Zoom call for the Children with Diabetes Foundation. He's very active in that community, and he's saying one of the main reasons that he's doing this is he wants to show kids that they can go on and that they can do normal things in their life, which I find I find noble. But just what are your thoughts on it? And your thoughts on Mark Andrews in general for fantasy this year? Do you ever find? I mean, just with these guys' ADPs, it's just. I mean, Mark Andrews.
I feel like his ADP is too high.
I mean, he's going at number 31 overall. He's going as the tight end 3 at number 31 overall. He's going before Leonard Fournette. He's going before Melvin Gordon, Calvin Ridley, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going just after Cooper Kupp and Adam Thielen and stuff. I am literally never in the market for Mark Andrews or that type of player when I'm picking there at the 3-4 turn. It's simply not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think he's efficient, but he doesn't get a whole lot of targets. I think there was a piece of information that I talked about like 3 weeks ago, and I'm trying to find it.
About Andrews?
About Andrews.
So last year.
Yeah, that's right. He's never had a game in which he's seen double-digit targets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm noticing that as I'm looking at the game logs. But I mean, he gets peppered pretty well. I mean, how many games? If you just look at games with 7+ targets, last year, because
he always plays less than half of Baltimore snaps. I don't know if that's going to be the case now that Hurst is gone. Maybe he gets more snaps, but
I think we have to project him for an uptick in snaps for sure. I know that our projections have it that way, but our projections still have Ertz and Andrews basically back to back. Ertz is still ahead of Andrews, and I can understand maybe wanting to go with Andrews because you figure that Dallas Goedert probably with the Eagles will be moving up, whereas Hayden Hurst is completely out of there. Andrews is on a different sort of trajectory. I can get it, but it feels like betting on the come with him. I'll tell you what, though, it's good to know. What?
Well, I said, maybe the team, I don't know, maybe they take into account the fact that he's playing and risking himself with his type 1 diabetes and makes it worth his while.
Yeah, I don't know. We're getting into the realm of the cockamamie there with that, I guess. Allen Robinson, looks like he's not going to get paid this year. Dak Prescott looks like he's
DeMarco Murray. Derrick Henry just got paid.
Yeah, Dak's not going to get paid, but Derrick Henry did get paid a 4-year, $50 million contract. It's going to have $25.5 million in guaranteed money. So basically what it is he's he's getting guaranteed what he would normally get, which would be, so on the franchise tag, it would be 10.3 million this year. And then next year it would move up to something like 15 million, right? Because if he gets tagged the second time, it goes up. So you would be looking at basically he gets 2 franchise tags and guaranteed money with the upward mobility to maybe get that thing to 50 million. What do you think? Is this as dumb as the Cowboys paying Zeke, the Rams paying Gurley, the Arizona Cardinals paying David Johnson? If you have to rank dumbest to smartest, how do you rank those 4 running back mega signings?
I feel like if you're trying to win right now, which I feel like the Titans are having to, who else are they going to pay? Who else on that team is worth paying at his skill position? Come on.
It's too early to pay AJ Brown, right?
It's too early to pay. It's too early to pay Brown. Who else do they need to pay?
Well, they could have tried to do something to keep Jack Conklin.
Okay.
Right. I mean, they could have done they could. I wonder what.
Derrick Henry is the focal point of that offense. The offense does not move without Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry is kind of a rare beast in the NFL. There aren't many runners like Derrick Henry.
I understand. He got paid. I mean, that's a big payday. $25.5 million. That's King Henry got paid. Do you think he's going to get paid again?
Henry?
Yeah. Or is this it? Is it all downhill?
They haven't looked till his age 27 season. Is that the deal?
2023. I'm not sure. Let's see. So Derrick Henry age. Let me just see if I can. So he's 20. No, he's 20. He turned 26 on January 4th. So they'll have the 26 season, the 27 season, the 28 season. No, the 29, 20, 20, 21. Yeah. Through his year 29, age 29 year.
Yeah, that might be it for Derrick.
He's not getting paid again. I didn't know he's already 26.
He's no. I don't think he's a Curtis Martin.
Would you would you take $25.5 million if you were back at age 26, not knowing you were going to get paid again professionally?
Yes,
I think I would too. All right, so that's probably about it for news and notes. Why don't we do a quick mock draft here using version 3.0 of the cheat sheet, and then what I'll do after that is start talking about some of these running back strength of schedule. Trashman hasn't seen him yet because I know he does not look at our site, rosterwatch.com. What do you want to do here, Trashman? We'll do 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. We'll do 1 flex, and it will be a PPR league versus the pre-draft rankings at the big boys, Yahoo, ESPN, NFL.com, the composite best ball here at Fantasy Pros, and the composite ADPs they have of ESPN, Fantrax, RT Sports, and the mock drafts over at Fantasy Football Calculator. Of course, also the experts at Fantasy Pros. All of those resources go into this simulation here and will be our opponents that we are going to be drafting against using version 3.0 of the PPR cheat sheet available to pro members at rosterwatch.com, where you follow the 3 simple rules at the top of the sheet of paper. An expert quality draft is guaranteed because the sheet of paper is made of magic. Trashman, where do you 7?
Let's get out there in no man's land.
Okay, pick the 7th pick. This thing's been humming, Trashman. We'll see. As always, when we do it live here on the air, things could go sideways, and if they do, we'll just make notes and hope that we can fix it. I think the top ranked player here is actually going to be Derrick Henry. So we got the big man on our team. Yep, let's just get him. You even said, Trashman, one of your safest picks. This is Trashman. I can already tell that this is going to be really weird. It's going to be a weird draft this time. There's been a run of wide receivers like we don't get. We had Devontae Adams, we had Michael Thomas go at 1.04. We had Devontae Adams go at 1.08. We had DeAndre Hopkins go at 110. We had Julio Jones go at 111, which we never see. Tyreek Hill and Chris Godwin with 2 of the first 3 picks of the second round. So this thing's pushing running backs to us, and we'll be taking Josh Jacobs here, hoping that this thing shifts us back to – it will. It looks like we'll be getting DJ Moore here with our third-round pick, who I'm loving more and more. The more I kind of just watch back some of last year and picture his role in that offense.
I don't know how DJ Moore is being ranked above Kenny Golladay right now.
Well, I think in PPR, I think it makes sense. It's a Joe Brady offense. Kenny Galladay's never been it. I think it's standard we have to rank Kenny Golladay ahead of DJ Moore. I think it's standard we have to, but I'm not sure that we have to in PPR.
I'm there's an argument to be had there, but let's move on.
Well, I mean, if there's, you could tell me you could tell me the argument. What's the argument?
Just that Kenny Golladay was number 6 receiving last year in fantasy leagues with Matt Stafford playing in half of the games of the season.
No, I mean, I get, well, in PPR, in actual fantasy points per game, he was actually number 13. With that being said, DJ Moore was number 15. Their difference though was DJ Moore last year had just a shitty quarterback situation, right? I mean, it's like he lost his starting quarterback too. Detroit and Carolina both had situations where they lost starting quarterbacks where their offenses went completely off the rails, and DJ Moore had 135 targets in 15 games. Kenny Golladay had only 116 targets in 16 games. Kenny Golladay 65.
And again, that's only half of which with Matt Stafford.
Only half of DJ Moore's time was with Cam Newton. Is Kyle Allen really that much worse than Jeff Driscoll and David Blau and these idiots?
They're all garbage.
Look, I think it's a good discussion to have. I break the tie the way our projections break the tie, and they project it as more volume going to DJ Moore, maybe just a little bit better for PPR. And we're probably going to see some touchdown regression from Kenny Golladay if he plays a whole entire season with TJ Hawkinson coming on in the second year, with Marvin Jones being healthy the whole year. You know, they brought in DeAndre Swift who can catch the football out of the backfield. I think Danny Amendola is still there. It'll be another year there out of the slot.
I mean, you're like DJ Moore doesn't have Robbie Anderson to contend with now, in addition to Curtis Samuel.
I would much rather contend with Robbie Anderson than Marvin Jones. I think I would personally. But regardless, let's just get on with the mock here. We wouldn't have gotten Kenny Golladay there anyway. And I have those guys back to back on the cheat sheet. I can understand your point, and I think Kenny Golladay should go ahead of him in standard. But for now, I'm sticking with my guns in PPR. Le'Veon Bell in the 4th round. We'll talk in a minute why that is even a better play than we would have originally thought. Let's see. So DJ Chark at our wide receiver here. So two DJs, DJ Moore, DJ Chark. Like the sound of that. Here we have David Montgomery, who I've been getting a good bit of. I'm not sure how much I really like that. Do you like getting a lot of David Montgomery, Trashman, as your running back 4?
4, yeah. I think that's great as your running back 4.
Marquise Brown here as our wide receiver 3.
See what I don't love about these receivers. I don't see a lot of touchdown upside.
You know? Well, wait till you see who else we got. Marquise Brown, okay. Darius Slayton, and now your boy CeeDee Lamb. I could make the choice here and go with Tevin Coleman over CeeDee Lamb. Is there a way that you would go there? I think I might go with Tevin Coleman here.
You think we need him?
Well, what do we have? 4 running? No, four running backs. We have 4 wide receivers.
Get me the dude I'm amped to see on the field at this point.
All right, so we'll get CeeDee Lamb. There's no way Tevin Coleman is going to fall. But see, what's going to happen now is we're going to probably not going to get another running back. Probably not going to get another one. I wish I would have just gone with my gut there and taken Tevin Coleman. We'll get Anthony Miller here as well. At our tight end, he's going to fall. Look, if Tyler Higbee's going to fall all the way to the 11th round, I'm taking him. I understand that people are, some people could be out, right? Some people are out. They're not sure that he's going to be what he was last year. I know Sammy Watkins has to be better next year than he was last year, right? He's the cheapest piece you could buy in that whole entire in that whole entire offense. And I want pieces of that offense. In our final pick here, we'll get Matthew Stafford. This lineup construction, I would have actually gotten to get another player had I have done this right. I only made this thing with one flex instead of two like I wanted. So we would have actually added on Paris Campbell here at the very end after taking Matthew Stafford. But as it is, this team, so 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 quarterback, and 6 bench spots. I could have had 5 running backs. I wish I would have taken Tevin Coleman over CeeDee Lamb, but I did not do it. Trashman talked me into it. So the running backs, you feel like we got 4 of these guys that are really good, though.
I feel like with these wide receivers, you're going to need some options.
Derrick Henry,
the running backs are solid.
Josh Jacobs, Le'Veon Bell, David Montgomery. The wide receivers, DJ Moore, DJ Chark, Marquise Brown, Darius Slayton, CeeDee Lamb, Anthony Miller, Sammy Watkins. The tight end, Tyler Higbee, the quarterback, Matthew Stafford, and just like that, could have been a little bit better with the having Tevin Coleman over CeeDee Lamb. Trash man.
I disagree.
I definitely love that team. You can draft. You can draft just like us if you use the cheat sheet version 3.0 at RosterWatch.com. An expert quality draft is guaranteed. The sheet of paper that changed fantasy football forever is back, only at RosterWatch.com. The RosterWatch cheat sheet. Only at rosterwatch.com. All right. Do you know what else is at rosterwatch.com, Trash Man?
I can't be entirely sure.
Running back strength of schedule. If you ever went to the site, you would know. I put it up yesterday. All right. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Here's how I came up with all of this stuff. So we do not do this by looking at last year's fantasy points allowed or our adjusted fantasy points allowed for schedule adjusted. The reason why is because you'd be a fool to do that. Like basing this year's matchups initially on last year's matchup grades and indications is a fool's errand. It's going to cause you misery and suffering as a fantasy football player in life. And it's just because personnel changes. Different teams get different coaching staffs. Different teams get different players. The front seven changes. The way that they do things changes. And so while a little of it can carry over, maybe a couple of the teams that were worse last year for opposing running backs to face, if they kept a lot of the same players, same coaching staff, it's probably going to be still a decently tough matchup this year, right? But with the way that things change, we can't depend on it, not even on the far edges and the margins. So we look at their grades that we have on their scouting grades and their scouting metrics that we take during their NFL draft processes for these front seven defenders, like height, weight, size, speed, explosiveness. We take their grades from places like Pro Football Focus, for places like Sports Info Solutions, different key metrics available to us, like the percentage of time that they would show a stacked box, what the stop percentage is per player, the explosive rush efficiency or the explosive rush percentage allowed, the rush efficiency percentage allowed from last year, when just looking at these actual players that were on the different units, and then retrofitting those back to what the new units are today. So it's not so much looking back as it is looking back at the data involving certain players, and then putting that data in to what the new units are, and then putting those in order. And once we do that, we can then take a grid of the schedule and input each matchup they're going to have for the 16-week NFL season, and then calculate over the course of that who has the best schedule over the course of the whole season, and also who has the best schedule to start the year, which we care a lot about. Trash man, we definitely, once you draft your players and the draft's over, and you look, it's the most messed up thing. You'll have a guy that you've ranked as a running back 2 for all the draft season that you'll rank as like the number 2 running back on the week, right? Because he's got an awesome matchup. And it's something you don't think about whenever you're drafting. So that's how we came to this. I can just I'll show it just real quickly here, just to I'll show just the screen share of what it looks like to give the YouTube viewers an idea of what we'll be looking at. But here it is. So this is what the tool looks like. And so we have the top 8 matchups highlighted in this royal blue, top 12 projected matchups in the light blue, bottom 12 projected matchups in pink, and bottom 8 projected matchups, worst projected matchups in red. And you see as I kind of go down here, a lot more red up top here or a lot more red down here than there is up here where it's mostly blue. And we'll talk about the fast start schedule and the playoff schedule as well. So as we're talking this over, Trashman, it's always the case. We took Le'Veon Bell a little bit early in that draft, and it looks like it's always the case that it feels like the schedules that are the easiest are always with players who you're a little bit goosey about. That's how it always goes. It's like you wish that the Carolina Panthers would have an easy schedule coming out because you feel great about McCaffrey or the Cowboys. But it rarely goes like that. The New York Jets have the best projected schedule.
Isn't it just an odd thing to think that, like, 3 years ago we would think of Le'Veon Bell as a questionable play in fantasy?
I don't think of him as questionable as you do, or as questionable as some other people do, but it is true.
Oh, I don't really. I mean, it just seems that tends to be the scuttlebutt right now.
What I will say about Le'Veon Bell is that he doesn't necessarily like most he'll in weeks 3 and 4 he'll go at Indy and then Denver. We have those projected as bottom 12 and bottom 8 matchups respectively. But then after that, from week 5 basically on through week 14, these are all top 8 projected matchups that he has over that span. Arizona at home, Buffalo at home, at KC, that's a top 8 matchup. He'll have Miami twice on either side of the bye in week 10 and week 12. And then week 13, he has the Raiders. Week 14, he's at Seattle. Week 16, he's at home versus Cleveland. If he gets off to a rough start after week 4, you should be looking to buy him coming into week 5. The New England Patriots have the second best. Is there any Patriot running back that you can depend on? Like, that was the one I was saying. I put Sony Michel on the cover of the article.
I feel like Damian Harris, where you can get him in drafts right now, I think he represents really good value.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's a guy that you should be getting in the last round of your drafts. I actually need to make a point that we should probably just be doing that. I haven't been getting much of him. I haven't been examining his ADP. What is Damian Harris's ADP right now? In PPR. Let's see. Damian
in PPR. Full point PPR.
And he's running back 62. So 206. I don't even know. Is that out? Is it past the 14th round? 12. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So
his ADP right now is at 59.
The Damian Harris, I have him at RB 62 in PPR.
He's RB 62. I'm that.
Are you looking
he's
at
ranked at RB 62? No PPR, but his ADP is at 59.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, regardless. Like I'm going to update the next cheat sheet to where we're going to be getting a little Damian Harris because
we need to get some of that action.
It's like our buddy, the Podfather, always says. It's like the best way to handle the New England Patriots running back situation is just take the one that's cheapest and just see what happens. It's worked like 2 out of 3 times. 2 out of 3 of the last years. All right, the third easiest strength of schedule. With one of the best. Oh, and I should also mention, Trashman, the fast start for the Patriots. They have the best fast start of anybody. They have Miami is a top 12 matchup, and then they have 3 top 8 projected matchups at Seattle versus the Raiders, and then at the Kansas City Chiefs for their first 4 games. It's an absolute sea of blue. So if you think
that's good for Cam Newton too.
No,
he might lead them in rushing. He might pull a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well,
and it's also good that they'll be able to lean on the run in those games to help get him acclimated. Number 3, The Miami Dolphins. Now, they start out with a bear at New England, but then after that, they go to Buffalo, at Jacksonville. Trashman, when you look at what Jacksonville's done, like you think about that team as a good, defensive team, but if you look back at any of the numbers from last year, they are absolutely miserable. And you look at the stop percentages there along the front. I mean, we don't know how Caleb Chason is going to look, but some of these guys like Gunter, a 4.7% stop rate. Josh Allen, I know he's a stud on the outside, but only a 5.1% stop rate. Miles Jack, only a 6.4% stop rate. This is not a team that looks like it's going to be really, really stuffing opposing running backs. And there's also some ancillary statistics that you can look at with these guys that point to the possibility that that's not going to be a good defense at all this year. They could really, really be tanking. It worries me a little bit about Leonard Fournette, with the fact that if they do go to negative game scripts, it could be a little bit more Chris Thompson than we would hope.
Actually, I was looking at Leonard Fournette's stats the other day, and he actually had quite a few. I mean, he was like third or fourth, I feel like, in targets for running backs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. But doesn't the idea that Chris Thompson just gets targeted so much and that Jay Gruden has shown how much that he likes to use him, doesn't that worry you just a small bit about Leonard Fournette this year, especially when it looks like this defense is going to be bad?
Hey, I like anything that's going to get Leonard Fournette closer to the goal line.
All right. Fair enough. Any thoughts on any thoughts though, just on the on Miami?
That's why Jordan Howard was one of my running back steals in my last
piece. He's looking like he's going to be a pretty good value, at least in standard leagues, right?
I mean, he's averaged 8 touchdowns in his last 4 seasons, which is really good. Matt Breida averaged like 2 touchdowns a season. So I think Howard's going to be the goal line back regardless of, how many touches they're getting otherwise, which I think, might be close to an even split.
I know that you're going to love this, Trash Man. The 4th best strength of schedule on the season goes to Kenyan Drake and the Arizona Cardinals.
I love that.
Yeah. Well,
keep it going.
We've talked enough about Kenyan Drake here on this podcast. People know that. I guess
the interesting question there is who do you take as his backup? Is it Eno Benjamin or is it Edmonds?
I just don't think you take one. I don't know. That's a really tough question. I don't know. I think maybe Chase Edmonds this year, but in Dynasty maybe Eno.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a tough question. I just wouldn't take one. Just, you know me, Trash Man. I just go commando on these guys. Indianapolis Colts with the 5th best. Make any difference to you? Not necessarily a real fast start. Actually, they really get this to me with the way that the distribution of these easy games goes. They have one right out of the back. They go to Jacksonville first, right out of the gate, who we just talked about. But then after that, it's Minnesota, New York Jets, run-of-the-mill defenses. At Chicago is going to be a brutal one in week 4. But then after they get through their bye, so after their bye, they'll go at Detroit. They'll get a brutal matchup at Baltimore. But then things down the stretch from week 10 on or so, they'll have Tennessee twice. It's a middling matchup. They'll have Green Bay, a top 12 matchup. They'll have at Houston, a top 12 matchup. They'll have at the Raiders, which is a top 8 matchup. And then in week 15, they will have Houston at home. The only issue there is they will get at Pittsburgh in week 16 for the fantasy championship. Pittsburgh showing up here in the rankings is our worst matchup for opposing runners coming into the 2020 season. So you'll have that to deal with in your championship game. But that just, to me, if Marlon Mack starts out the season sort of being the guy, and we see a visual transition to Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor will be coming into his own down that stretch of week 10 through week 15, where I continue to say I really feel like we could see like a Miles Sanders type of 2019 escalation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he's one of the best running backs after contact in college football. So I really feel like regardless of who he's playing against, he's going to be able to pick up yards. He's that kind of player.
Do you know who has the worst Do you know who has the worst strength of schedule for opposing running backs? In a terrible start to this, in just a brutal, horrible start to the season, with 4 out of 5 of the first matchups being against projected top 8 defenses against the run.
Is it somebody in the NFC West?
Nope, but he's in the NFC on the other side.
Is it going to be? I mean, is it going to be the Cowboys?
Nope.
Giants.
Your boy Saquon Barkley has the toughest schedule in all of fantasy football to start next season, starting out in 4 of his first 5 games facing defenses that project to be top 8 against the run. I'm not saying buyer beware on Saquon Barkley, but I'm kind of saying buyer beware on Saquon Barkley. That could be the pod, man. That could be the pod. That'll be fine. Thanks to everybody for watching on YouTube, man. We appreciate you guys. I don't think we even went up on Periscope.
Yeah, I was wondering. The numbers looked low.
Yeah, well, because we didn't go on Periscope, because what happened was last night Twitter was hacked. Did you hear about it? Everybody with a verified Twitter account was like targeted by China, but because it was a Bitcoin scam. And I just don't think anybody would do a 2-bit Bitcoin scam and like hack Joe Biden for a couple of Bitcoin. I think this was probably somebody telling us to quit screwing around. But anyway, so one of the things they said was like, what you need to do is you need to deny access to any like third-party apps that you've allowed in, because that's how they thought we were getting in. So I think I might have denied access to everything. So that's why Periscope didn't go up. And so anyway, like anybody gives a shit about that on the YouTube streets. Hey, we love you guys, man. We'll have more pods tomorrow and all through the course of the week. He's the Trash Man. I'm Alex for the crew at RosterWatch.